Hi, that's here, viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by the clock. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. We begin right away with our major stories as usual. The ill of corruption in Cameroon is still far from being over in the country. The National Anti-Corruption Commission, Equinoxe, in its latest report indicates that the country has lost over 24 billion francs CFA to corrupt practices in just a year. And in this newscast, we will be talking health. Diabetes is still a major problem to health officials and also to the patients, as several cases of diabetes are still undiagnosed in the country. Those are our major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. We begin with this element with the National Anti-Corruption Commission, Equinoxe, which in its latest report that was yesterday indicates that the country, Cameroon, has lost over 24 billion francs CFA to corrupt practices in the country in just a year. And some of the corrupt public domains identified included health, trade, education, justice, finance, among others. As staffman Innocent Aze completes the story for us.
According to the Equinoxe 2021 documented 210-page financial report following investigations carried out, 40,947,794,138 francs is the total amount of financial damages incurred by Cameroon to corruption. It is also a decision of the Budgetary and Finance Disciplinary Council under the Special Criminal Court. Going by the report, corruption in President Paul Biya's country is getting obsessed alarmingly on a daily basis, as by 2021 there has been an increase of 24,396,519,954 francs on the 17,611,274,184 francs financial damages incurred in 2020. The Commission's report holds that more than half of the over 24 billion financial losses incurred by Cameroon came through the Cameroon Debt Recovery Company, the SRC, following multiple irregularities in the structure. The misappropriation of debts owed to the company by some debtors and the extortion of funds derived from compensation operations for a number of beneficiaries of payments of checks drawn by the Directorate General of the facility. In the 2021 status report, Equinoxe also reveals that there has been massive increase in corruption practices in the education, health, finance, justice, trade, state property and land tenure sectors. These were done through malpractices in the establishment of vital documents and public service delivery. Equinoxe notes that mismanagement linked to the coronavirus pandemic were not investigated by the Commission due to ongoing findings in the domain by the Supreme State Audit Office. According to Equinoxe, a major challenge faced in the fight against corruption in Cameroon includes the non-collaboration of several key public sectors, individuals, and the challenges of obtaining tangible evidence. Some of the sectors are the ministries of agriculture, state property, and the economy. Equinoxe adds that many people fear to report corruption practices, challenges which to the chairman cause enormous damage to the nation, thereby jeopardizing efforts to attain development.
And as corruption seems to be very difficult to be eradicated in Cameroon, the country continues to lose a lot of money to corrupt practices. And an economist says corruption has a lot of effects negatively on the country's economy. Edmond Kwate also adds that corruption affects the budget, infrastructure, and also a country's stability. Let's now have the details with our staffman. For me, Armstrong Sander.
The 2022 report from the National Anti-Corruption Commission, Equinoxe, reveals that corruption remains a major problem to the state of Cameroon and the Cameroonian economy. The report says Cameroon lost close to 44 billion francs CFA to corruption in 2021 from 17.5 billion francs CFA in 2020. a veritable blow to the economy, according to economist Edmond Kiati, who explains how corruption destroys the economy.
Corruption is an impediment for the economic growth of a country. It's a huge impediment because you cannot actually meet up with the forecast of your budget when people are actually siphoning the budget through corruption. If you are forecast, for instance, that you will be expecting to have this X budget, you are not having it because some agents are, through corruption, grabbing this money for their own personal account. And then at the end of the day, the government has to go and endebt the country to invest. So you don't have clear vision of your budget.
Closely linked to the budget, Edmond Kiati explains why a corrupt country cannot grow infrastructurally.
The money that the government was supposed to collect and then invest, like in hospitals, in schools, and many other investments that can profit the republic, this money is either in the pockets of individuals or in the accounts of major companies abroad. Today we are having schools in Cameroon they don't even have, where students don't even have benches where they can sit. We are having hospitals in Cameroon, people cannot even access good care. So all this is simply because there is a lot of money that could actually enter the safe of the state, but this money is either entering the pocket of individuals or accounts of some major company abroad.
He says corruption destabilizes social order.
People will suddenly become rich without any effort. Secondly, there are some services which should be rendered freely to people, and instead of rendering this service freely, people will be asking money. At the end of the day, those who don't have the money to pay for these services, they will be frustrated. And when people are frustrated in a country, we know where it can end up.
Edmond Kiati further used the Glencore scandal to demonstrate how large-scale corruption affects the economy and hinders development. He says the reported 7 billion francs Glencore bribe in Cameroon represents just 10% of what the multinational harvested from Cameroon through corruption channels in 10 years.
We continue to talk about corruption in the country. The cankerworm continues despite the putting in place of several anti-corruption structures to combat that issue. Our reporter Lucy Esie Liengu spoke with barrister Achu Julius on some of the reasons why corrupt practices continue in Cameroon. Her report.
Despite the presence of structures like the National Anti-Corruption Commission, NAC, and the National Agency in charge of investigations, ANIF, corruption keeps increasing in Cameroon. According to the Anti-Corruption Commission, the rate of corruption is alarming.
It is still existing because we are humans. Laws are there. Laws are flouted by who? By us who created the same laws. Who is supposed to punish anybody flouting a law that has been fully voted in parliament and published by the head of state? We are the ones to do it. And if we don't do it, what happens? The phenomenon stays in the society, and it continues on and on until the day somebody will hit the table and say enough is enough.
Highlighting the most recent case of the Swiss multinational commodity trading and mining company Glencore, barrister Julius condemns the non-punishment of victims.
So you see, corruption is at any point, at one point, that has levels, and they use even the rule of law to practice corruption. Because that British government can never justify why that money should be paid to them. Meanwhile, they never participated in Africa in corrupt practices, and they never lost anything like money. We who have lost the money, why can't they send the money back to us? So you see, corruption is like a hydra. It has so many heads, so many faces, and it's like they punish only the weak in corruption. The strong guys never get touched.
He also underlines the fact that the law governing corruption in Cameroon is not clearly stated.
Corruption in the penal code is not that clear as such, because it's like paying for undue influence or influence peddling or bribing for a service which is due. So, but the way it is put, from where I as a professional, it is very difficult to prove it, because two parties are always in. Nobody can get a bribe from the air. Somebody has to come and give a bribe. Somebody has to come and start the process of corruption. Then there will be somebody that has to receive or to carry out to provide a service because that person has received a bribe or whatever. So it's very difficult to establish it.
The legal mind, however, says ANIF and NAC are doing their best in investigating and reporting cases of corruption and bribery in Cameroon.
And now away from corruption, business persons in Monatele locality in the central region are complaining that power shortage is costing them a lot of money. Our reporter, Smart Jikan Gabriel, the report which comes up next now tells us more about the ordeal of business persons in Monatele caused by power shortage.
Business operators in Monatele, chief town of Leke division of the central region, say things are moving slowly as a result of the repeated cut in electricity supply witnessed in the locality. Every 5 minutes, electricity supply is interrupted. And when it is that way, the demand is high, in the sense that wages at the end of the month increase because paying salaries is complicated. To curb this problem of electricity supply in the locality of Monatele, some business operators have come up with some temporary solutions. We've decided to buy latest equipment that can store energy and also get power banks in the market. In the evening, without electricity supply, we have invested in solar panels to provide us energy. The use of generator is also having a negative impact on the health of the people in Monatele. When you return home in the night, you have headache because of the noise from the generators, and the gas emitted gives us flu. In a recent media release, the Minister of Water and Energy has announced that the supply of electricity will be interrupted from the 12th to the 16th of November 2022 in the center and south regions. The same media release says that during this period, some work will be done at the Memvele power station with an objective to enable it produce its capacity of energy, which is 211 MW.
And now we talk health. Diabetes, both type 1 and 2 diabetes, continue to claim lives in Cameroon despite efforts put in place by medics. This is also because most of the cases of diabetes are not yet diagnosed on time. Let's now have more with our staff lady Immaculate Fogwe.
Diabetes cases in Cameroon are rising at an alarming rate. According to health experts, approximately 615 people have been diagnosed with the disease. Doctors, however, say this number is underestimated, given that 4 out of 5 persons are ignorant of the fact that they are diabetic. The major symptoms are increased thirst, frequent urination, hunger, fatigue, and blood vision. In some cases, diabetes is one of the leading causes of renal lower limb amputation and blindness. These complications, if undetected and treated, can cause disability. The major risk factors are overweight, obesity. This is because of poor lifestyles. Lots of people drink a lot and don't care about their diet or even carry out physical exercise. Type 2 diabetes accounts for 90% of cases diagnosed in Cameroon. Faced with this high prevalence rate, doctors advise Cameroonians to adopt a healthy lifestyle. During this month of November, consecrated to the fight against diabetes, the Douala General Hospital organized a free screening campaign for diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. It should be noted that diabetes triggers cardiovascular disease, which is the leading cause of death in diabetic patients.
And now we talk to you about a government bilingual primary school which has somehow been deserted by both the pupils and the students. Our reporter Mala Glory tells us it is because the school structure is completely dilapidated. Let's now have the picture of government's bilingual primary school in Majek Bodmakak in her report.
This is Government Bilingual Primary School Manjak, a locality in the Bodmakak subdivision in the Central Region. Abandoned in the bush, the building is gradually wearing out and the roof falling off. The ineffectiveness of the school has forced parents to send their children to distant schools.
Les classes sont fermées.
The school has been closed and the building is gradually deteriorating as the teachers have all left.
Puisqu'il n'y a plus des enseignants,
nous sommes obligés d'envoyer nos enfants.
We are forced to send our children to Bodmakak. They come home only on weekends.
Les enfants doivent venir au village chaque week-end.
A disturbing situation to children who have to cover the deplorable state of the road to neighboring villages for studies. They cover a distance of at least 10 to 20 kilometers and sometimes on foot. We can no longer school here as the teachers have all left and the headmaster too. The local population pleads on the authorities to ameliorate the working conditions of teachers sent to remote areas so that they don't abandon their duty post but concentrate to impact knowledge.
In other news, poor image quality and regular interruptions are some of the problems faced by viewers of television programs in Cameroon. The National Communication Council is striving to solve the problem so that Cameroonians can leave the Qatar 2022 World Cup with little or no heat. This was the purpose of a meeting that brought together the presence of the National Communication Council, his collaborators and cable distributors in Douala today. The National Communication Council President Joseph Chebonken Kalabubse instructed the major distributors to avoid actions that could disrupt the flow of images in homes. Let's now listen to Joe Chebonken Kalabubse, who is the president of the National Communication Council, in this excerpt.
We have realized that the cable distributors are the main suppliers of images in homes, and so we felt that with the coming of the World Cup, we needed to talk to them about the importance of that competition to Cameroonians, given that the Indomitable Lions will be taking part and that Cameroonians love football. So we said, for the sake of social peace, that all activities around cable distribution should cease for this period of the World Cup, and then allow Cameroonians to enjoy the competition, and also encourage local distributors to try as much as possible to get formal contracts with the big boys who are in the distribution sector, and also to encourage them that we will accompany them to be able to sign contracts with the big distributors who are Canal and Star Times, and also to make them understand that it is a period where Cameroonians will very much love to enjoy the competition without the seizure or disruption of the pictures. And we want to urge the big distributors that we are not encouraging the locals not to sign commercial contracts with them, but that within this period they should stop harassing any distributor, and that when the competition is over, we will help in ensuring that all the local distributors who are not officially, don't have contracts, will help them to sign contracts with the big distributors.
And viewers, that was what we put together for you on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for always according us your time. Enjoy your weekend in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.